Oh, my bad. Dang. See this mess? You're listening to Truth in the Afternoon. I'm your host, Dr. Ken Harris. 833-212-1017 is the number. All right. A tangled mess. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Didn't get them tangled in time, didn't get them out in time, and it's just a mess. That's my excuse to buy a new pair of headphones, because I've been wanting to buy a new pair of headphones for the last couple weeks. And so I thought, you know what? Hey, self, buy you some headphones. And so I probably shouldn't say this out loud. I ordered myself some headphones. So hopefully I'll get them in the next week or so. I mean, these have gone so bad that the foam, like the stuff for the foam, is coming off. Like it's peeling off. I love Sony headphones. I love them. They're phenomenal. So 833-212-1017 is the number. I read an article over the weekend and I thought I would share it with you. The article is something written by Vanzetta Penn McPherson, and she lives in Montgomery. She's a retired U.S. magistrate court judge. And she wrote an article that struck me profoundly. And so what I thought I would do is I thought that I would tell you about it. But rather than tell you about it, it just made sense, and I have time. I'll just read it. And every now and then I might read something, but this time it struck me. And with that, I want you to understand and hear exactly what she's saying. The topic is interesting. Excuse me. The and it comes at such a poignant time with, how do you say her last name? Golf? Coco Golf? Coco winning the US Open. And hearing the announcers say and twist things to make it be something important, but not really that important. And so I'd like to just read this. And the title of the article, which you won't find because it's in a private magazine, Purging the First, Recasting Black Achievement. 4 centuries after our arrival in the world's most industrious nation, citing African-American achievers as the first Black is more regrettable than desirable, more embarrassing than prideful, more abominable than honorable. Yes, first refers to the act of coming before all other Blacks in time and order. It describes acts that are foremost in position, rank, or importance, but it also suggests that the Black achievement was theretofore impossible. It is time to purge references to the first as an honorific label of African American achievement. The moniker is so fraught with adverse historical baggage and qualitative irrelevance that it should be banished to linguistic perdition, to fester alongside words like sissy, in icebox, floppy disk, and old maid. Its several iterations justify an unceremonious retirement. First, Stripped down to its core, the real meaning of first Black is the loosening or overcoming of Caucasian restrictions that are due mostly to white supremacy. Arguably, touting oneself as the first Black is implied homage to the graciousness of the majority for opening a racist door or lifting a prejudicial ceiling. Absent these doors and ceilings, the first Black to achieve any status of moment could have done so 100 years earlier. Brandishing the first also implies that prior to it, no other African American was sufficiently prepared, talented, educated, skilled, or otherwise capable of the task or deserving of the status. Why else would so many whites have achieved the status sooner? In truth, the first is often a contrived probity hoist upon a fictional platform of white superlativeness. Consistent with the presumption of white supremacy, the subliminal message of a first Black label, they are that one, African Americans need more time and training to reach heights of achievement. Two, mingling with whites accelerates Black achievement. And three, whites should decide when Blacks are entitled to recognition for their achievements. Are any of these messages valid? Were the players of the Negro Baseball League really less skilled than Major League players? Was Training Day really Denzel Washington's first Oscar-worthy performance 25 years after the Harlem Renaissance, after Langston Hughes, Zora Neale Hurston, and Claude McKay? Were Gwendolyn Brooks in 1950 for poetry, or her nephew, James Allen McPherson, in 1978 for fiction, really the first Blacks who wrote objectively meriting a Pulitzer favor? Seriously? The point is that merely becoming the first Black to join the years-long pantheon of whites is not a presumptive indication of unprecedented Black excellence. Okay? The greater likelihood is that the evidence of one more hole in the wall of exclusion. The second adverse iteration of typical references to the first is its pejorative racialization of Black achievement. Have you ever noticed that African Americans who are the first persons to invent or introduce a thing are never branded the first? If no one has ever done it, the Black who did it first and is the first to do it noted without racial heralding. In those instances, the effect of racial disregard, if not the intent, is to dilute the achiever's accreditation. In fact, when a Black person is the first in his or her race to eclipse a previous white achiever, the act can generate press and labeled racial taunts, race riots, and presidential censorship, like Jack Johnson. Death threats, like Hank Aaron. Contrived persecutions, like Muhammad Ali. And years of delegitimization, like former President Barack Obama. Moreover, if an unprecedented Black achievement, the very first, is a societal transformation rather than an individual enhancement, watchful majoritarians may try to usurp credit altogether or outlaw the fact. Consider jazz, a Black first whose musical element reflects Afro origins, but whose invention is assigned to a white male. Or the slam dunk, you may not have known it, it was banned in college to nullify Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's advantage. The Black creators of those transforming developments are seldom, if ever, accredited as first. One of the most incredible censorships of a Black very first is Rolling Stone's 2008 designation of Jerry Wexler as the inventor of rhythm and blues. Definitely untrue, rather than its labeler, which is probably untrue. It is one thing for African Americans to acknowledge and embrace the first as self-evident historical fact worthy of documentation. But Historical accuracy is not the accustomed motivation. Instead, the first Black is most often cited to aggrandize the achiever in resumes and introductions and award ceremonies. I mean, against an overwhelming backdrop of single adjective first, the adjective being Black. Many acts of contemporary African American achievement, some of which are commonplace or unremarkable, are articulable only as long winding trains of unrelated adjectives and conditionals. And as a result, we're invited to heap praise upon the first Black lawyer from the north side of Bobo County, Georgia, born to a single mother before 1990, or the first Black female Democratic county commissioner who won a full term in an off-year election. You know, in recognition of the countless African Americans who languished in the days when hope, unborn, had died, whose creations as chattels were misappropriated and whose artistry and industry were ignored, let's cease this irrelevant headcount. After all, 400 years into this acclaimed democracy, the first Black anything these days signals shame more than it signals African American esteem.
That is Dr. Ken's Truth on the new 1017 The Truth.
This is 1017 The Truth's Melody Ricks, and I am Milwaukee. I love Milwaukee so much. I love how rich the city is in history, and I love how rich we are in the moment. I think that every day there's something new that our city accomplishes, but it's important that we keep remembering